Welcome to episode 2 of the Big Leagues podcast. We're going to talk about some more NFL. Starting off week 2, Monday Night Football again. Another big injury. Chubb goes down for the year.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Like Nick Chubb, arguably the best running back in football, and it was like to watch him, And he already had like a really bad knee injury in college, and you hate
On
to
the
see
same knee.
it's the exact same knee too. So you hate to see him go down. Like definitely a big loss for the Browns, but
Sure.
they signed Kareem Hunt, today, who, he's familiar with their system, and
Yeah.
I think he's actually like a very good running back. So it's definitely not Nick Chubb, but I think he'll be I think he's a good replacement if they could get one.
Yeah. The thing with Nick Chubb for the Browns, it's like every team's most important player is obviously their quarterback, but like Nick Chubb's just the identity of that team. That run game sets up everything.
It's kind of similar to like Derrick Henry in a sense. Like
Yeah.
their offense revolves around the run game, and
Yeah.
when you lose them, it really just messes up the whole offense.
What are your thoughts on Kareem Hunt for fantasy?
Well, I picked him up in one of my leagues, or in our keeper league on the wire. He was on the wire, so I picked him up. But I think he's got receiving upside too, and Deshaun likes to check down, so I think he actually could be like a solid RB2 play, moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Tough for anyone that picked up Jerome Ford.
Yeah.
I know a guy in our league spent 75% of his free agent budget on Ford that process this morning, and then Kareem Hunt got signed late this afternoon.
And like I just couldn't. I'm so glad that wasn't, because I was gonna make a bid for him, but I was like, no, you're good enough. So I just let it slide.
I was gonna make a big bid on him too, but I just got distracted and didn't end up putting in my waiver claim, so I got lucky on that one.
Yeah, and like he basically can't get anyone, like if there's another big free agent, like Lish is done. Like he can't compete, man.
No budget left.
No.
Yeah, that was a crazy game though. Like Steelers' offense looked really bad, but that defense just dominated.
What, man? Like is he the best defensive player in the league, or what?
Like Micah Parsons has a great stake to that claim, but I can't say confirm that anyone's better than TJ. He just dominated. 3 sacks in week 1. He had a sack, a forced fumble, or a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Just every play, it seemed like he was right pressuring Watson. Like he was beating his O lineman like every play.
He was getting disrespected coming into this year.
Like,
just because people are still getting Aaron Donald the respect, who missed like a bunch of time last year. TJ Watt missed a bunch of time last year, and everybody's like, "Oh, is he even a top 5 edge rusher?" And like people were
he was completely discredited. Like everyone had like Parsons, Garrett, Bosa, and who am I forgetting?
No one
had all them guaranteed above him.
Yeah,
and when he's definitely on the same tier as them.
Like he's arguably the best one. I'd say it's probably between him and, I think, Micah. Just watching Micah Parsons, man, like he is crazy. Like he's a dog. Real.
Yeah. Like I think like Patrick Mahomes is the best player. Like I'd say Micah Parsons is probably the second best player.
I think him and TJ, like edge rushers.
Yeah.
Like I'd say it's the most valuable position. Like to have an elite tier edge rusher, it's probably the most valuable position on a defense, I'd say.
Yeah, and well, they get compensated accordingly.
Exactly. Like they get paid on like more than anyone but except QBs. Nick Bosa with that fucking crazy deal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you watch the Panthers Saints game at all on Monday? Or you only?
I saw a bit of it. I was keeping an eye on it. I gave out Saints money line. Just did hit.
Very. And it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch the game for the whole game, man. Bryce Young, I'm not even blaming it on him. Like, he's a rookie. It's his second game ever. But like our receivers, they can't separate like down the field. Like Mingo had one decent, like kind of a little down the field catch to like set us up for that touchdown at the end. But the Saints were just giving up everything to the outside, so it's not like it was really impressive. But our offense definitely is in a little bit of shambles. But our defense still looked really good. Like the Saints, we were blamping the Saints for, they only had 6 points at half, and then what really broke the game open was Chris Olave with that crazy one, that little bubble with one hand catch, man. CJ, it really hurts because just like last week against the Falcons, CJ Henderson getting cooked when we need him the most, and that normally would be JC Horn, but he's unfortunately hurt. So
anyone that was talking about Derek Carr with a change of scenery, I think that's out of the question in my opinion. I think Derek Carr sucks.
No, well, I said it coming into the year. I think Bryce Young's the best quarterback in the division. Like without playing a snap, he's definitely better than Ridder.
I'd take him over Ridder, and I'd take him over Baker.
And Carr, I don't know if Bryce Young had those weapons though, he might look as good as Derek Carr. I think.
Sure. Although I don't know, Bryce, you definitely can't blame it all on Bryce, but he hasn't looked bad, I wouldn't say, but I also don't think he's looked great.
Yeah, I think our offensive line hasn't been as good. Yeah. Last year,
no offensive line and no weapons. It's pretty tough and a rookie QB. It's pretty tough for that.
And when we started winning games toward the end of the year with Darnold, it was just our offensive line was just so good for Deontay Foreman and Hubbard that we would run the ball so well that Darnold was getting all these easy throws, but Miles Sanders is just getting swallowed up. It seems like whenever we need him to get us a few yards to get us, so we're always in 3rd and long, 2nd and long.
Tell me about it. Steelers are in the same boat. Can't get the run game going. Well, 3rd and long.
Is there a chance you guys put what's his name? Jalen
Warren?
Warren, yeah. I don't know why I was blanking on his name, but I got him in Dynasty. I make my dreams if he became starting back.
Well, the thing is, he's a lot more explosive than Najee. Najee's more of a power back. Warren's got the more explosiveness. Najee's really hard to tackle, but he hasn't seemed to been able to get going. That's the thing.
Kind of similar though, even though Najee just got drafted 2 years ago, it's kind of similar to Zeke and Pollard, at the start at least.
Yeah.
Because Pollard, a few years ago when he first started getting some touches, it was just he was more explosive, and Zeke was just eating up everything inside. Now it's kind of seeing similar. That's kind of what's going on in Pittsburgh. Najee's averaging 3 yards a carry this year, and last year he wasn't efficient either. So I think maybe it's your offensive line though. I know last year
it's the offensive line and the offensive coordinator need to be reshaped for next year if the Steelers want to be in contention.
Yeah.
But just to jump back to Bryce Young real quick, if you could redraft the draft, would you still take him number 1?
Oh, no doubt in my mind, I'm still taking Anthony Richardson's looked great. He's an elite athlete, and he's kind of similar to Cam. He's got some Cam-esque.
He's very similar to Cam.
But he's already hurt. He already in week 1 he hurt left, came back, and then now he's gonna miss at least next week with a concussion. So you can already. I think he might. Richardson could end up being Justin Fields, not a great thrower, but just elite.
Mm-hmm.
But he definitely has the potential to be like Lamar, where you can do both at an elite level.
Stroud's looked good too.
Stroud does look good, but I think he's got a little more weapons than Bryce has, and
it's pretty maybe a bit better weapons, but they're pretty similarly bad, I would say.
Yeah, they're definitely not great, but Nico Collins has looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
He's looked good.
What about Jalen Carter? Would you take him first?
We're talking. No, we needed we traded up we could have got him if we didn't trade up at 9. But
in a vacuum.
Yeah, we needed a quarterback at 1. I'd stick with Bryce.
Still take Bryce. Fair enough. All right, another big game from Sunday was Rams versus Niners. Did you see much of that one?
I tuned in I was watching Red Zone because the Panthers didn't play till Monday, but I was watching so I saw the highlights, but it looked like a good. I'm really surprised with the Rams, man. I thought they were a 5-win team, like basement team, like Caleb Williams contention, and they've come out. Matt Stafford looks like
the Rams have been really good. Like definitely exceeded expectations this year. Like they won their week. They beat the Seahawks in week 1, and they played the 49ers, who are one of the best teams, and they were right there with them like the whole way.
It was a close, like no one expected that to be a close game, and Matt Stafford kept it close, and Puka Nacua, man, like who is this guy?
Great pick up in the draft. They drafted him in the 4th round, and he's just.
No one really knew who he was, and he just came out back to like setting the all-time receptions record within 2 weeks. Just looking like a bona fide. He could be part of that Rams future, which would be a big because they don't have much future right now.
When Kupp went down, it seemed pretty grim for the Rams, but he definitely stepped up, and Tutu Atwell's also stepped up too. He's been good.
Tutu Atwell, I was looking at him in fantasy. He had 111 yards week 1, and then comes back and has another great game week 2. Like,
I'll be curious to see. I think there's a chance Kupp is back week 5. I'll be curious to see what that production looks like for Puka and for Atwell once he comes back.
Like it's eventually gonna regress. Like I think he'll regress the next few weeks with Cooper Kupp out, because they're not just gonna keep putting up 100 yards every week. But I think Puka, I think he'll be a solid receiver, like at least for fantasy. I think he'll be solid all year, even with Kupp in the lineup. But for Tutu Atwell, him being that wide receiver 3 and like we don't know how good the offense is going to be for the rest of the year, but I don't think a great offense. Like it's going to be hard for him to see like a ton of production, I think.
Mm-hmm. The Rams got the Bengals this week. That's going to be a tough game for them, like a rematch of the Super Bowl. Bengals are 0-2. Not looking great for the Bengals, but
I think you got to think they back though.
You got to think they're going to come. Like they're not going to not win a game all year. Eventually, they're going to have to win.
Burrow re-aggravated his calf. Like he's questionable for the game. So if Burrow doesn't play, and like
the Bengals could be in trouble. I'm not gonna lie.
I favor the Rams if Burrow's out, and if the Bengals start 0-3, are they gonna make the playoffs in that tough of a division?
If Burrow misses time, I think they're in grave danger. Like if Burrow misses time, but even still, I think it's a bit premature to take them out of the playoff race. But if Burrow misses time, I think they're in danger.
If Burrow, even if he's out for the next 2 weeks, I think they're in great. Like if they fall to 0-4, like it'd be a miracle.
And especially in such a good division, it's gonna be tough to bounce back. And
they have a tough schedule too. Like I'm pretty sure they had a top 5 toughest schedule going into the year. So it's not gonna be easy to like come back from down 0-4. Gonna be tough.
Now they started 0-2 last year as well, and they finished right atop of the AFC. So. Don't want to overreact too soon.
Yeah.
Gonna go through our top 5 power rankings. Give me your list.
All right. At number 1, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. At number 2, San Francisco 49ers. At number 3, I got them boys, the Dallas Cowboys. Number 4, I got the Eagles. And at 5, it was tough, but I got the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. I got the 49ers at 1. I got the Cowboys at 2, Eagles at 3, Chiefs at 4, and Dolphins at 5. So, fairly similar list there. You got the Chiefs at 1. I got the Chiefs at 4. Give me your reasoning for Chiefs at 1.
Well, I think, week 1 they lost to the Lions. It was a close game, but they were missing their second and third best player in Chris Jones and Kelsey. Then they come out and they beat, I think, a very good team in the Jaguars. Like, I'm a big believer in Trevor Lawrence and that team over there. Even though they didn't look great offensively, but their defense came out and played. Chris Jones, hasn't lost a step clear. Like, he had a great game. So I don't see any reason to move the Chiefs down from where they were last year. Super Bowl. They just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So I had the Chiefs down at 4. I still got them as the top team in the AFC. I need another team to prove it to me otherwise. Like Dolphins have looked good, Ravens have looked good, but I think you gotta you gotta go in and beat the Chiefs to secure that spot the way the Chiefs have dominated the AFC recently. Um, I did have three NFC teams over them though, just with the weapons haven't been great. I know they did beat the Jaguars, but only putting up 17 points. For me, I got the Niners at 1. I think they're the most complete team on both sides of the ball. Defense is great. Offense, like CMC. I was kind of like, I don't know if I'd say I was counting CMC out, but I do feel like, CMC has kind of proved me wrong a little bit that I mean, Chubb just went down. I think he's the best running back in the league right now.
I'd say even before Chubb, like personally, Panthers fan, so a little biased, but I just think that what he brings in the receiving game makes him, more valuable than Chubb and Henry, who have no receiving game and are just pounded down your throat. Even though they're and CMC's looked incredible in the run. Like he's been put 150 game one and another 100-yard rushing back-to-back weeks. Like
yeah, he's dominated for sure. And then they do like Purdy's done what he's needed to do. He played well.
I thought week 1 against the Steelers was, I didn't know, like I thought it was questionable just because I thought Purdy would regress from where he was last year, but he hasn't lost a beat, and this offense is incredible, and they have a top 3 defensive unit in the league, I'd say. So I think they're a very complete team. So I see why you'd have them 1. But
you had them at 2, right?
Yeah, I had them at 2 behind the Chiefs.
And then I had Cowboys at 2. Also a great, also probably a top 3 defense.
I think honestly, 2, 3, and 4 on my list: Niners, Cowboys, Eagles. So I'd say those are the top 3 defenses in the league right there.
Eagles defense is a little banged up right now. Bradbury's questionable, and Maddox is out indefinitely. So they're getting thin at corner. They still got Slay, but they lost number 2 and number 3 corners.
I love what they've done with their defensive line, bringing in Jalen Carter, and they already got Jordan Davis, and they got Fletcher Cotley. They have Josh Sweat. They have Hassan Reddick, who is criminally underrated on the, like, he was with the Panthers almost. He was top 5 in sacks, and last year, another top 5 in sacks year. Like, Hassan Reddick is very good on the outside, but their run is just so good with all those big blocks.
Yeah, I had them at 3. You had them at 4.
Yeah.
Chiefs for me came in at 4. They came in for you at 1. And then at 5, I got Dolphins.
I had Ravens. So why do you have the Dolphins in the 5 hole?
So for me, the offense just looking great. Tua's looking great, like throwing the ball to Hill, Waddle. The run game's looking good, 2-0, and the defense is also good. I think they're just a complete team, and they're starting left tackle Teron Armstead hasn't been playing. Once he comes back in the lineup, once Jalen Ramsey comes back in the lineup, I think the Dolphins are dangerous. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they come out of the AFC at all.
Well, I think the Dolphins, with the way their offense is, they have the chance to beat anyone in one single game. When you have game breakers like Tyreek Hill and Waddle, like they can put up 40 on any given game, So I think that it's valid. I actually had them just below the Ravens. Like it was a close decision for me.
Yeah, but Ravens would probably be next for me too.
The reason I had the Ravens is I love Zay Flowers. Like I think he's the best receiver in this draft, and just the way he's looked so far. And they're 2-0. Lamar hasn't even looked up to Lamar-esque. He hasn't played up to his potential.
He's been good though. He's been good.
But
he's got to be up there for MVP as of now. Got to be up there, top 3 for me.
Yeah, I think who would you have 1, and who would you have your top 3 MVP candidates?
I don't even know. It's a it's a quarterback award.
Yeah, I think Tua's got to be.
Tua's the first name that comes to mind.
I think he might be 1, and I hate to say it.
Well, I don't know if that's gonna last, but for now, I think my top 3 right now would be Tua, Lamar, and Hurts.
Lamar Hurts. That's a valid top 3. Where do you think what if Purdy leads the Niners like 15-2? Would he be in the MVP mix?
15-2, yeah.
He'd have to be. Like, he has not lost a game yet in the regular season.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves now. 15-2 is
I don't think it's great. The Niners are, if they could stay healthy, which is a big if. I think they're so complete. I think it's hard for them to drop games.
Yeah, they're a good team. Shanahan coach and them one of the top coaches in the league.
And like their coordinators are always unreal. Like Mike McDaniel, coach of the Dolphins, and Robert Saleh, coach of the Jets. Like, they just produce head coaches from their coordinator.
Yeah. So why do you have Ravens at 5?
Well, I like their weapons. I think the problem for the Ravens is it's always been kind of focused around Lamar and the run game, and they've only really had Andrews. But I think Zay Flowers by the end of this year will be a pretty solid wide receiver 1. Even though Odell, he just got hurt, I think Odell at wide receiver 2, like, a big bias says he's my boy, but I think that's some pretty good weapons. And Rashad Bateman, wide receiver 3, I think that's some good weapons.
That's the best weapons he's ever had. Like,
by far. And it sucks they just lost Dobbins, but Gus Edwards and Justin Hill, like, if they can just...
Obviously, it sucks to lose him, but, like, I think for the Ravens, I think he's fairly replaceable, to be honest.
Well, and Lamar, I think Lamar is just as vital to that run game as any running back they'd bring in.
Yeah.
Sure.
No,
I think it would have been a good signing for them to bring Kareem Hunt. I think that would have been really interesting.
Yeah.
I think that would have been cool.
I wonder if they'll look to bring someone in or if they'll stick with what they got. Like, I know Fournette's available.
There's still some good backs out there. But I think they actually like Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, so I don't think they will.
I think they'll probably stick with what they got for now.
Yeah. And they look good so far anyway, so why fix it when it ain't broken?
Yeah. Like I said, I'd probably have them come in at 6 for me, so I can't hate on that ranking at all. They've been very injured so far this year, and they've just
they're injured
so much. Like, beating the Bengals, that's a big divisional game. Bengals are supposed to be one of the top teams, and they're able to beat them. So
I think what it's going to come down to the Ravens if they're just healthy at the right time when the playoffs. Because Lamar's been hurt the last 2 years. They're the most injury prone. Them and the Niners just injuries left, right, and center. So I think health's the most important thing for them moving forward.
Like, I think it's interesting in the AFC. Like, coming into the season, it was Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals were kind of the top 3 that, like, most people would be picking one of them to come out of the AFC, and now Dolphins and Ravens have come up, and so many teams in that AFC that could come out of it.
And, like, I think even though the Chargers are 0-2, I think they're a good team. I think their defense underperformed.
They let me down last week.
Oh.
I gave them out, and they had I don't know. See, I'm a big Herbert guy, but, like, there comes a point in time, I don't know, like, how much more can you blame anything else? The weapons are great. They got good players on D. I think, personally, I'm blaming the head coach right now. I think they got to get him out of there.
He's a clown. Like, how is this man still a head coach?
Sucks, but I don't know. If they bring in a new coach and the Chargers still can't produce, like, a top team, like, at some point the fingers got to turn to Herbert. I hate to say it, but it's just frustrating when
I feel like he's played
let me down.
Ooh, I wouldn't put either loss on him. I think he choked towards the end of the game and last week against the Titans, but week 1
they should have won that game though. They should have won that game.
It was looking like it'd be a blowout, in the first half, and then they just kind of shit their pants, and
there's no excuse for losing that game.
And now, like, starting 0-2, like, teams don't make the playoffs when you start 0-2 historically. So,
and with a loaded AFC too, like, it's going to be hard.
Yeah. There's only 3 wild card spots, and they're not going to.
The Jets are probably out of that discussion.
I didn't think they were making it even with Rodgers. I didn't think
they were in discussion for one of those playoff spots. Definitely.
But I'd say now, like, you got to think the Bills, if they don't win the division, one of the Bills and Dolphins are
one of them for sure
doing, and then Bengals, like, are they gonna make the playoffs? Like, I don't know. It's pretty wide open now in the AFC.
I think the AFC North will have 2 teams for sure, at least.
Brown. I think Browns are definitely in the mix for a spot.
I think one of those other teams will definitely get in.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I don't think the Broncos are looking pretty trash. But
I think they'll get in.
It's tough. Do you got any good lines for next week? I know I personally I think I went 0-3 from my last week.
That's tough. I went 2-1. Chargers let me down. I scouted out a couple ones I like. I like Patriots -2.5 against the Jets. Patriots haven't looked great, I will say, but their defense is really good, and I think Zach Wilson and the Jets are going to struggle.
Bill Belichick against Zach Wilson just ain't a good.
Bill Belichick ain't getting embarrassed by Zach Wilson, I'll tell you that. And also when you look at the Patriots, they lost the Eagles, who were in our top 5 power rankings, and they lost the Dolphins, who are also right up there amongst the top teams. So how much are they going to hold that against them? Especially they didn't get blown out either.
Mac Jones hasn't looked bad. Like, I think he's actually played.
I think people are hating on him a lot, but I don't think he sucks. Like, I think he's decent enough.
I think
you can win 7 games with him.
I think he's far better than Zach Wilson. Like, I think I clearly have the better quarterback. They got a good defense, way better head coaching. I think it'll be. I
do wonder if, like, the Jets' defense is really good, so they might struggle offensively, but I just think they'll be able to put up more points than Wilson will against them. So I like that at -2.5. Okay. And I like the Titans +3.5 against the Browns. I think that's just going to be a really close game. They can lose by a field goal, and the bet still hits. I just like that one. I think
that's too many points.
I think it's too many points. I'm not even saying they're going to win, but I think they got a chance. I think it'll be a close game. So
field goal.
I like that. That. And then I also like the Steelers against the Raiders. The Steelers are coming in as underdogs, +115 against the Raiders.
They just beat.
I'm not really sure why, to be honest.
The Raiders are a hot trash fire this year.
Raiders are bad. They're a bad football team.
Adams is out probably. He's in concussion protocol. So if they don't got Devontae Adams, like, what are they gonna do?
I don't know. I don't think the Raiders are good. I think their secondary is putrid. I think their offensive line is bad. And did the Steelers' offense look good? No, it didn't. But their defense was dominant. Like, I see the Raiders struggling to put up points against that defense.
I see TJ Watt having a day against that Raiders offense. Is Cam Hayward play Monday?
Oh, he's out for a few weeks, I think.
Missing like some significant time.
Yeah, and then Minka's also questionable, but I think there was a report that he missed. Like, he's not gonna have it's not like a serious injury, so he could be back.
Okay.
You got any lines you like for next week?
Do I like them? Not sure, but I got a few lines that I thought good hit. Last week the Packers absolutely sold me against the Falcons. It was looking so good, and then just collapsed. They couldn't get any points in the fourth quarter, and the Falcons just did enough to get by to another week.
Yeah. I like them against the Saints. I think the Saints are. We talked about the Saints already. I think the Saints are bad.
I'm winning with the Packers this week, -2 against the Saints. The Saints, they couldn't score on my Panthers, and their offense, until the end, and their defense, they actually have a pretty good defense. I'll give them that. Their defense looked good.
Their defense is good.
But I'm a big believer in Jordan Love. He wasn't the problem last week. Like, he played pretty solid. So I like the Packers coming out -2. Another one I like, Eagles -5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Eagles are a top 5 team in football, and I think Baker Mayfield is hot garbage. So I think 5 points, it's not a crazy high line. I think the Eagles cover that comfortably. I think the Bucs are going to have a hard time scoring and a hard time stopping the Eagles from scoring. So I definitely like the Eagles there.
Mm-hmm.
And my last line, it's a big one, a lot of points, but Cowboys -11.5 against the Poverty Cardinals. I think, are they going to? I don't know if they're going to score. You can't tell me for sure the Cardinals are scoring. I think the Cowboys defense is just so good, and the Cardinal, Joshua Dobbs. Do I really believe in Joshua Dobbs? He had a good week. I'll give him that. They don't really have many weapons. Like James Conner's, he's a solid running back.
Serviceable, but that's about it.
Zach Ertz and Trey McBride, solid. Marquise Brown, not a wide receiver one I want, but I don't see it ending well for the Cardinals. And it's basically just whether the Cowboys cover 11.5. I think it'll be a blowout. So yeah. I like that for the Cowboys.
I agree on that. It's a lot of points to lay. I don't know if
I don't like
if I could get myself to do it, but that defense is so dominant. They're gonna shut the Cardinals down. I think it's just. I think you could look at some alternate lines like Cardinals team totals under. I don't know how many points they're gonna score. Are they gonna score more than 10 points? I find that hard to believe, honestly.
Well, the Cowboys didn't let the Giants or the Jets get over 10, so I find it hard to have the Cardinals get there. And I think the Cowboys offense is just going to march on the Poverty Cardinals defense too. It's not a great unit by no means.
Yeah, they put up some points on the Giants though, but not that the Giants are world beaters. But
back and they dropped 31 unanswered. So I think I like the Cowboys by a lot against the Cardinals.
There's another tough injury, the Saquon going down. I think he's not done for the year, so hopefully he'll be back soon. But
2 to 3, they say 2 to 3 weeks. They said it's not a serious injury, just an ankle sprain. But he looked so good against the Cardinals in that second half, and he's just one of the most interesting players to watch in the league. So you always hate
such a good player.
And one of my favorite players too, and got him on my fantasy team. So extra hurts for go down there.
Yeah, it's tough when you got someone in a couple leagues and they go down. You're really hurting on that.
Yeah.
All right, you got anything else to add?
No, I think we covered a few good lines, but we'll have to see how the betting goes. Trying to bounce back after another few donations to the books. Looking to bounce back.
Hopefully it's a profitable week. All right, we'll wrap up the episode there, I guess. We're looking at having a guest for an interview next week.
Yep.
So should be good there.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
Time.
Peace.